What if I told you that some Star Trek episodes were so shocking they were banned? Not by angry parents, not by rival studios, but by the very networks that air them. Star Trek is known as a hopeful show. It shows a future where humans solve problems with peace, logic, and teamwork. It talks about equality. It talks about unity. It talks about growth. But sometimes the show went into dark places, places that made people uncomfortable, places that felt too real. Tonight, we are exploring Star Trek episodes that were banned, delayed, or heavily edited. These were not small changes. These were serious reactions. And make sure you stay until the end, because one of these episodes was locked away for almost 30 years in one country. When you hear why, you may understand why it caused so much fear. Let's begin. Number 3. Miri. Imagine landing on a planet that looks exactly like Earth. Normal houses, quiet streets, empty parks. It feels familiar. Too familiar. The Enterprise receives a distress signal and sends a team down. Captain Kirk, Spock, and Dr. McCoy walk through what looks like a small American town from the 1960s. But there are no adults. Not a single one. Suddenly, a sick and frightened man attacks them. His skin is covered in strange purple marks. He screams in pain. Then he collapses and dies. It is shocking. Soon, they meet a young girl named Miri. She is scared. She calls adults grups. She believes grown-ups are dangerous. Then the crew begins to notice something terrifying. Purple marks appear on their own skin. Miri explains what happened. A disease was created during a life extension experiment. The goal was to help people live longer. Instead, it destroyed them. The adults caught the disease first. Before they died, they went mad. They became violent. They hurt each other. Then they died. Only the children survived. But here is the twist. The children are not normal children. They are over 300 years old. They age very slowly, 1 month every 100 years. But emotionally, they are still kids. They fight. They panic. They form groups. They fear adults. As Kirk and his team grow sicker, the children turn against them. An older boy steals their communicators. The crew cannot contact the ship. Fear spreads quickly. The children form a mob. They capture members of the crew. They shout. They throw things. They become wild. The episode shows sick children, madness, and the collapse of society. Many viewers found it disturbing. The BBC aired it once in 1970. After complaints, they did not show it again for years. For a show about hope, this was a very dark story. Number 2. Plato's Stepchildren. This episode made television history, but it also made some networks nervous. In this story, Kirk and Uhura are captured by a group of powerful rulers. These rulers use mind control to humiliate and torture their guests. They force people to crawl. They force them to laugh. They force them to obey. Then comes the moment that changed everything. Kirk and Uhura are forced to kiss. Today, that may not seem shocking, but in the 1960s, it was bold. It was one of the first interracial kisses shown on American primetime television. There were fears that viewers in certain parts of the country would react with anger. Some stations were worried. Some sponsors were unsure. In the United States, the episode aired. But in the United Kingdom, the BBC did not broadcast it at first. The official reason was that the episode was too cruel and sadistic. The rulers in the story enjoyed hurting others. But many people believe the kiss also played a role in the decision. What is interesting is this. The expected backlash never truly came. Most viewers accepted it. In fact, the moment became one of the most important in television history. Sometimes the audience is ready before the networks are. Number 1. Whom Gods Destroy. Now we move to one of the darkest stories in the original series. The Enterprise visits a prison for the criminally insane. It is located on a lonely planet called Elba-2. The mission is simple. Deliver medicine. But when Kirk and Spock arrive, they discover something terrible. The inmates have taken control. The leader is Garth of Azar. He was once a famous Starfleet captain, a hero, a leader. But now he is unstable. He believes he is meant to rule the galaxy. He has learned how to change his appearance. He can look like anyone. He plays mind games with Kirk. He mocks him. He tests him. At one point, he kills another inmate just to prove he has power. The episode feels intense. It feels serious. It deals with madness, identity, and control. In the final moments, Garth changes his face to look exactly like Kirk. Spock must decide which one is the real captain. It becomes a battle of logic and trust. The BBC believed the episode was too disturbing for family viewing. It was withheld for years. But the story of banned Star Trek episodes does not stop there. Let's move forward in time. In Star Trek, The Next Generation, there was an episode called Conspiracy. In this story, alien parasites secretly take control of Starfleet officers. They hide inside their bodies. The ending shocked viewers. To stop one of the infected officers, Picard and Riker fire their weapons. The man's head explodes on screen. Then a creature crawls out of his body. It looked more like a horror movie than a science fiction show. Because of the graphic scene, some stations moved the episode to a later time slot. The BBC refused to air it at first. Then there was The Empath. This episode focused on suffering and torture. The pain was not shown in graphic detail, but it was described in a way that made viewers uncomfortable. The emotional weight was heavy. The BBC delayed airing it for nearly 3 decades. It was finally shown in the 1990s. Another powerful moment came in Deep Space Nine with the episode Rejoined. The story centered on Jadzia Dax, and a woman who had once been married to a previous host of Dax's symbiont. They still had feelings for each other. The episode featured a same-sex kiss. At the time, that was rare on television. Some stations in the southern United States refused to air it unless the kiss was removed. But critics praised the episode. Many fans loved it. Today, it is seen as brave and meaningful. Star Trek has always pushed limits. It talked about racism during the 1960s. It showed a Russian officer during the Cold War. It showed a Japanese helmsman not long after World War II. It gave a strong role to a black woman on the bridge when that was rare on TV. It asked hard questions about war, power, and fear. And sometimes, asking hard questions makes people uncomfortable. But here is something important. Most of these episodes are no longer banned. They are now praised. They are studied. They are respected. The very stories that once caused fear are now seen as ahead of their time. Time changed everything. What was once shocking became normal. What was once banned became legendary. Star Trek did not just explore space. It explored ideas. It challenged viewers to think differently. It imagined a better future, even when the present was not ready for it. So now I ask you, were these episodes truly too extreme? Or were they simply brave? Let me know your thoughts. Because sometimes the boldest journey is not through the stars. It is through the truth.